Ground station attacks, the counterspace weapon that isn't even in space, but it's probably one of the most effective counterspace weapons available. So, what is it? Well, that's easy. A missile, a rocket, or other large explosive is used against a ground station. Pretty simple. Now, this does not mean that you must use a missile fired from an aircraft. A spy or saboteur detonating enough explosive material to destroy the ground station has the same effect. Now, in either case, the end result is the same. Complete and irreversible destruction of the ground station. So, why do it? Well, ground stations can provide telemetry, tracking, and a command interface, or TTC, with space assets. So, imagine a bike wheel. Well, ground stations are like the hubs, and the connections they make to the space assets are the spokes. Without the hub, the whole wheel falls apart. This means that if your main objective is to cause as much disruption as possible, then the first target should be a ground station, because shooting a single satellite down is more complicated and less effective, especially if it is part of a larger constellation. On the other hand, destroying a handful of ground stations is less complicated and more damaging on a larger scale. So what are the features of ground station attacks? Well, when analyzing counterspace weapons, it's important to consider 5 main features: reversibility, attribution, awareness, attacker damage assessment, and collateral damage. So let's do this for ground station attacks. Now, in terms of reversibility, once carried out, the damage caused is meant to be irreversible. So there's no reset button, there's no retaking control, and if done right, the only option is reconstruction. In terms of attribution, depending on the mode of attack, attribution can be obfuscated. So missile launches from fighter aircraft are easier to identify than the explosive work of a spy or saboteur. In terms of awareness, depending on the location of the ground station, it may or may not become publicly known. This has important political consequences. So if awareness levels are low, then there's room for de-escalation between the two parties. However, if awareness is high, well, retaliatory strikes and escalation is much more likely. In terms of the attacker's damage assessment, there is a real-time assessment of the attack's success or failure. It either worked or it didn't. There's no ambiguity. And finally, collateral damage. So this is extremely likely because ground stations can be staffed, leading to the immediate loss of human life, and a successful attack results in a disruption to the operation of multiple space assets. Okay, homework done. Now let's get into the interesting stuff. Has this counterspace weapon ever been used? What are the dangers and consequences of such an attack? And what does the future hold for this counterspace weapon? So to do that, follow the link below in the description, sign up to a tier, and I'll get straight into it. Thanks for watching.